All right, what's good? What's good? What's good? Sorry for being late today. It was tough on me this morning to get motivated, but I'm here. What's good with everybody? Let me go up here and say what's happening to everybody. All the good people out there in the world. Rich L, what's going on, man? Alex Smith, what's good? Rich L in the building. Bank Hayes, Nuke the Duke, what's good? What's going on, man? Ray Patterson, Chillville, man. What's going on, Chillville? Have you caught the Ariel interview with Kiki yet? No. Who's Kiki? Gary Antoine interview on Shakar Talk was good. That's what's up. Fanon getting his coffee ready. Yeah, I'm ready with it. I got it. I need some help, y'all. I need some help, man. I need help being more positive, man. I realized, man, that I got so happy to hear that Jermell Charlo wants to fight Sebastian Fundora. I got so excited to see Gary Russell Jr. fight. I'm so excited and feel so good to hear Tim Bradley giving Gervonta Davis his flowers. And it just made me realize, man, that a lot of you guys really take all the joy out of boxing, man. Like a lot of you guys, a lot of this stuff is just tough to really love boxing when you got to deal with the type of people that I have to deal with every day. What's up, yo? 2 Cent, 10 to God. What up? YouTube streets in an uproar. Still? What's going on, Javon? Hector Salas in the building. What's up? Nuke the Duke. What up? We in the building. What's up? I'm going to say what's up to everybody. I'm going to put links in the chat early today. Tim Carey, thank you, man. He said, Devin Haney, man. Oh, the words I don't want to hear. He said, yeah, they do take the joy out. I say, yes, they do take the joy out. Manager Marty's on their head. That's what's up. I told Blue Blood he don't need to duck that dude. Anyway, here, look. Tell me what happened, man. Here's a link. Anybody want to chop it up other than anybody bringing me negative energy? No negative energy, please. Lil Charlo been calling out Fundora for years. Hey, man, let's get it. Not for years. He ain't been doing it for years, but he's doing it. I was just excited to see him do it again. Let's go, man. I need the PBC back. I need the PBC back, dog. I really, really do. So I can have a good feeling. Oh, Keyshawn. Oh, yeah. I saw that. Kiki. Yeah, I saw Keyshawn. How Keyshawn said he's going to come back. He's going to be a better person. No, I have not seen the Benavidez card. No, I've not. Look up Manager Marty's last video. It's hilarious. Okay, I will. Look, man. Look, boxing is a mess because we as boxing commentators are messes. You in his last video. Okay, that's what's up. Oh, I saw that. Yes, I saw that. You talking about the video where Manager Marty put me in the beginning of the video? I did see that. Shout out to Manager Marty. Blue Blood, you got to fight. You got to go ahead and fight this guy, man. Blue Blood, you got to fight this guy, man. You can't duck this shit, bro. You need to go talk to that man, you know? You need to go talk. They got Benavidez opening. They got Beterbiev opening for Benavidez. Oh, that's crazy. Hey, Beterbiev should be opening up for Benavidez. Benavidez is the star. Benavidez is the guy that has the most upside, man. Like, I fucks with David Benavidez, man. Virgil said Boots ain't top 10, and he turned down the offer. Virgil Ortiz said Boots ain't top 10, and he turned down the offer. Virgil Ortiz will get his ass whooped by Jaron Ennis, okay? Virgil Ortiz can say whatever they want, bro. Virgil Ortiz can say whatever he wants, bro. I'm not buying that shit, dog. That dude's going to whoop your ass, Virgil, okay? Virgil can say he's not top 10. He can say whatever he wants. Was like, get him out of here, you know. Manager Marty had Blue Blood shuddering when Marty asked Blue to drop the link. He said he was going to go on a personal. Did he let him on there? Stuttering and acting scary. Look, man, I just need somebody to get these guys away from me. I want positive energy. I need positive energy, man. I need positive energy back on this channel, bro. We got to get rid of these dudes. Stop supporting these dudes. Virgil all of a sudden ducked that man 5 years and 47. Look, I'm not trying to hear nothing about Gervonta Ennis. And I ain't talking about here about nothing. What up, Lori Reed? Nah, he didn't let him up. Of course he didn't let him up. Buck flu flood. Look, man, we have this incredible phenomenon called Gervonta Davis, bro, that they will not let us enjoy. Look, man, of course he wouldn't let him on. Of course he wouldn't let him on. Said, get this man out of here. You know that. Muddy Watch for now. We got you, B. Positivity is key. Yeah, because my wife doesn't want me to do this anymore. Like, I'm seriously having conversations with my wife, and my wife is like, you should go back to work in corporate America. And I was like, oh, no, I don't want to get a job. No, I do not want to work. I don't want to work. I got to make this YouTube thing work. I got to make this YouTube thing. Yeah, I've got to make it work, man. I love y'all so much. I love talking to y'all every day. But these concerted efforts to destroy box certain, look, fuck Bill Haney. It's all Bill Haney is like a disease to boxing, man. Let's start talking about who the diseases to boxing are. Bill Haney, you are a disease to boxing. You make everybody unhappy. Nobody is happy around Bill Haney because Bill Haney's always starting some dumb shit. Just ignore him. I'm trying. When they start beatboxing, you know they lying. Ain't he the one who was saying he dropped all links? Matter of fact, Blue said he got $500 from anyone to show he's capped. I think it was evidence. I showed that he was capped. He never gave me my money. Our mornings would suck without Fanon. Look, I'm not going nowhere. I'm just telling you, man, that my bed, it's like to see Gary Russell Jr. fight, it was so cathartic. It felt so good to watch Gary Russell Jr. fight. A real Hall of Fame level skill fighter putting on a terrific freaking show. I loved it. And then what happens when we got to go right back to BS cats sending fake letters to my house just to manipulate me from giving my opinion. I'm telling you, Bill is like a rabbit virus. I'm telling you, he's terrible, bro. He say, Money War said, yeah, bro, Haney's dad is the reason Haney can't progress. The way you feel about Gary Russell is how I feel when Arrow come back. Yeah, man, it's like, you know what? There's something to the fighter other than just the skills of the fighter. You know what I mean? Like, it was really nice to see Deontay Wilder beat that dude up, man. It was really nice to see him get that win in Wichita, Kansas, in front of a crowd of people in Wichita, Kansas. I didn't have to hear any British assholes tell me how terrible he was and how they don't like how he's throwing his punches and nobody knows him in the United States and Windmill Wilder and all that crap you guys do, man. All that crap you do. It just wears and wears and wears on the sport. Nobody is really, really interested in this fight with Terrence Crawford and Canelo Alvarez. I don't care how many tickets you say you sold for that damn thing. You must be giving them shits away. Nobody's tripping on that. See, Mac, keep grinding. I'm trying, man. Thank you. Everything healthy. Did you hear Usyk wants to fight Wilder? Wilder deserves an Usyk fight. Wilder deserves an Usyk fight. He put in the work, man. You can't leave for now. No, I'm not trying to. I'm fighting my wife over it. But my wife I ain't gonna lie, man. My wife is like, look, this is putting you in too bad a mood all the time. He said, they even attacking me because I talk to you. They want to try to manipulate people into not talking to you. Look, Nikki McClain said Spence needs to stay retired. I got to throw you out of here, okay, Nikki? I got to put you on delete, okay? I'm not going to throw you out, but I got to put you on delete. I just wish I was more. I don't care. I don't have to wish anything for Deontay Wilder other than him to get in the ring and to see him fight. I don't understand. I do not agree that I have to see a technically perfect fighter every single solitary time. Why? Because I don't like negativity about Errol Spence, man. I'm looking for Errol Spence to come back. Errol Spence, I don't want to see Errol Spence Jr.'s career end like that. Errol Spence Jr. is too good a fighter to let his career end like that. And there's a lot of, I mean, that's cool. It's your opinion. I'm trying to bring negative. I'm trying to bring positivity into the world today. You know what I mean? I'm trying to bring positivity into the world today. But I didn't block you. I appreciate that. That's just your opinion, Nikki. Thank you. Thank you very much. Facts, we just want to see him fight. Yeah, just like everything Gervonta Davis does, those guys complain about. They complain about things before he even does them. Like, just think about that fight with Lamont Roach and how much complaining they did about the fight about Lamont Roach. They're just trying to pour water on everything Gervonta. They try to pour water on everything Errol. They pour water on everything Deontay. They pour water on everything in the PBC. Just because you guys just because you guys don't get the press passes. And I'm telling you, a lot of this shit started up. They make stuff up and then complain. I mean, they're just terrible, terrible human beings. I mean, Blue Blood, you're a terrible human being, man. I want to talk to you, Blue Blood. You're a terrible human being. And I don't mean that in any way to insult you, but bro, you've got to be one miserable ass person to make all this shit up about other people on a daily basis and to recruit other people to sit around you and make shit up just to tear these people down. Do you not get enough of trying to ruin people's life, man? Don't you have any empathy for people whatsoever that they got to hear that bullshit you spin every day? I mean, do you guys have any remorse? Seriously, I love these fighters. There's some terrific fighters in the world, but you guys are dumping on Ennis so hard. It's like you're preventing Gervonta. I know Gervonta Ennis signed with Eddie Hearn, and Eddie Hearn probably wasn't the smartest thing or may not have been the smartest thing in the world. But you guys have been on a campaign of attack against Gervonta Ennis for years. Almost every one of our top talented American fighters, you're on an attack plan against. Like, for real. You're on attack. Almost every major black boxer in the United States, you guys have an attack plan for to make sure that they never capitalize on their popularity. Gervonta Davis would be much bigger if the media would celebrate him. I mean, it sounds so crazy to hear Tim Bradley celebrating Gervonta Davis. Why can't you guys celebrate Gervonta Davis? I know why. Because you got boo-boo ass Bill Haney with his hand up your backside telling you what you got to say every day. So Bill Haney doesn't want Boots popular. So you guys attack him. That's what I have to believe. They attack Boots because Norman Jr. ducked him. Man, look, they have been attacking Gervonta Ennis for years now. If it's not one thing, it's another. If it's not one thing, it's another. If it's not, he's ducking this guy, he's ducking that guy. If he's not ducking that guy, he's ducking this guy. It's so hard for me to believe that a fighter as skilled and as dangerous as Gervonta Ennis is really the one that is out here trying to duck everybody. The simple fact that you call people ducks every day. You guys accuse somebody of being a coward. Every fucking day, you guys accuse a boxer of being a coward. You guys every day. Tell me who ducked who yesterday. Who ducked who yesterday? I guarantee you, somebody ducked somebody yesterday, bro. Without a doubt. Did Brian Norman Jr. duck Floyd Schofield? Or did Gervonta duck? Did Gervonta duck Alexander Usyk today? Who ducked who today? Because that's the storyline every day. Who's ducking who? Who ducked who? Who ducked who? Did you duck? Did you duck? Only person I know is ducking is Blue Blood. Ducking KO Boxing and ducking Manager Marty. You need to get that ass whooped, son, because you are not a real sports commentator, bro. You are a phony baloney because they aren't on social media every day like other fighters. Brian Norman Sr. hates on Boots so much is sickening. Brian Norman Jr. and Brian Norman Sr. should cut that shit out. Because if anybody was going at his son like that every day, he would be on. And what did Boots do to anybody to deserve all of this shit? I mean, for real. Devin didn't duck them left hooks. Hell no. For real. Thank you for your guys' support, man. Oops. There it goes. Thank you guys so much for y'all support today. Did you see Rohan's coach going at it with Brian Norman Sr.? No, I didn't. I don't really watch a lot of those guys. I have to start watching more videos today. I'm gonna I have to how can I do this? Say this. I have to rededicate myself to this boxing YouTube channel and all of this. Muddy Waters, it's the same with Mayweather was on top. If he wasn't black, Floyd would have been a megastar. Keep up the great work. Floyd was a megastar. Floyd just is a dishonest person. Boots stays to himself for the most part. All Boots did was keep winning. The bigger threat you become, the bigger F you're in Devin's eyes. Look, Devin Haney is not a top level fighter, bro. Devin Haney has the skills. Devin Haney does not have the talent. And I don't think Devin Haney has the heart anymore. But I just don't think he has the talent. He's not that mega talent. You just don't see it on him. You're always told what you should look for with Devin. Devin is a Floyd Mayweather. Basically, Floyd is a carbon copy of, he's basically a poor man's Floyd Mayweather Jr. Lori Reed said Devin is a scared fighter. He's a scared Floyd Mayweather Jr. knockoff, is what he is. He's a Floyd Mayweather Jr. knockoff, and he's not that good. Hey, man, thank you so much. Hold on, what is this? Hey, starting the morning off before the show even starts. Carnell Tanksley with the $10 holler. Thank you, brother. Appreciate you, man. Yeah, he's Timu Floyd, bro. Who listened to that like Fanon, seeing you was live and what? Look, let me tell you something, bro. You listen to me, dude. What are you talking about? You listen to me. You're listening to me right now. We're all dishonest to an extent. Yeah, that's true. I can agree with this. No, let me tell you something, man. I don't think we are all dishonest people. I think that we can all lie. Like when we need, bro, I'm listening now. Yeah, I don't care if you're listening or not, bro. Go away. Like, seriously, have a nice life, dog. I don't care if you're listening or not. Really. You know, I'm not really tripping on whether you listen or not. Have a nice day, man. Devin is about to get badly beaten by Norman, especially at 147. 147 is all bad for Devin because he doesn't have power to hold anyone at 147. He said, "Hey, everybody lies." Dr. Gregory House. That doctor, I remember that House. I remember that show. Hell yeah. No, seriously, man. I do think that everybody, like, hey, I'm not going to tell you. If you ask me something and I got to give you an answer, but I don't want you to know the truth, I'm going to give you some shit that is not going to be the truth. I may not lie, but I might not just give you anything at all, you know? However, somebody said Balco Bud. I mean, look, man, celebrating Bud Crawford. Bud can fight, though. I don't believe that nigga, though. I'm going to tell you, I still don't believe him. Somebody said Devin should be at 154, and I fell out of my chair at work laughing. Keep going for now. Be true to yourself. Tell them facts. Yes, sir. He doesn't have power, period. No, he doesn't. So he's not. Look, the idea, just look, let me tell you something, man. The idea that Jaron Ennis is not trying to fight Virgil Ortiz, it's a joke, man. Like, I don't understand even if you just look at the two fighters. The idea that this guy is not trying to fight that guy because of whatever reason, I don't believe it. Virgil Ortiz is not some world beater that Jaron needs to be worried about. I do not believe he's worried about Brian Norman Jr. You know, I wouldn't be surprised if you guys had accused him of ducking Stanionis. If the Stanionis fight fell through, he would have been ducking Stanionis. Muddy Water said, Fanon, do you really think Bud is juicing? Do I think? I'm going to tell you this. I'll tell you what I think. I think that Bud Crawford is using supplements using something that's giving him an unfair advantage. I do. Yes, I do. I do not believe his weight gain. I don't. The man put on 20 pounds of muscle at 37 years old. That's suspect. That's suspect to me. They said he ducked Tio for crying out loud. Like who said that? 2 Cent. Let me tell you what these niggas are. Well, first of all, some of these guys are just butthurt people. Just generally speaking, they're butthurt people that can't win an argument. So they're just going to try to keep doing it until they win an argument. I don't understand how these worthless people continue to have supporters. Well, actually, I do. Ortiz's power didn't carry over to 154, yet I'm surprised they talking to moving him to 160. Look, he's probably too big for 154. That's a big boy. But he said Bud looking like Buff Bagley. Like, bro, come on. The man put on 20 pounds of muscle at 37 years old. That's enough, man. I mean, what do you want me to say? What do you want me to say? You think that I don't see that shit's that I don't think that's suspect? I really can't believe that you dudes would try to pull that shit by sending that piece of paper to my house. Like, for real. Like, seriously. Why would you guys fabricate that shit and send it to my house? You guys are such manipulative pieces of shit. Like, seriously, bro. You guys are so manipulative, so scheming. Oh, and by the way, I also called you a pooch. So it didn't surprise me that you get on your show and call me a pooch. Bro, look at you. Boy, look at you. And look at me. Fanon, I don't want to believe it, but I agree with you about Bud. Look, there's a video on YouTube breaking Bud's fights down, and Kelbrook was giving him problems until he tired out and slipped up. Bud definitely ain't number one pound for pound. Now they saying you lying about getting sued, can't make this shit up. That I'm lying, that I'm getting sued? Look. This says notice of defamatory statements and demand for retraction. Okay? Hey, Blue Blood, this is the note. That's not a lawsuit, stupid. That's not a lawsuit, stupid. It's a demand for retraction. That's not a lawsuit, stupid. Do you know what a lawsuit is, stupid? Where's the docket, Blue Blood? Where's the docket? Where's the case that says Fanon International versus Terrence Crawford? Where is this case? If there was a case on the books, you should be able to show me the case. Where's the case? And by the way, it's a New York attorney sending me something in Texas. Blue Blood. You have to have I don't even think there's reciprocity between Texas and New York. Yeah, they got reciprocity. Anyway, Blue Blood, you're a liar. I have not been sued. And on top of it, I don't give a fuck if you tried to sue me because I didn't defame the man. You're just dumb, Blue Blood. This is not a lawsuit. I don't know what else I can say. All you guys are liars, bro. Somebody sent me a note from Blank and Rome and asked me to take videos down because they said it was defamatory. I told them that I didn't think they were defamatory. They weren't defamatory, but I took the videos down anyway. And I took them down in exchange for them calling me to tell me if they have any more problems. But Blue Blood, you want to know, you think you know more about a lawsuit involving me than I do? There is no lawsuit including me, Blue Blood. None. You're just lying. And if you do it again, I'm going to sue you for defamation. How about that, Blue Blood? What if I send a piece of paper to you and sue you for defamation if your lying gap-toothed ass lies one more time on me saying that I'm getting sued? How about I sue you for defamation? Because you don't know that to be true. As a matter of fact, you know it not to be true. Because you guys are probably the ones that made this bullshit up. That's not a lawsuit, dog. That's not a lawsuit. It's a warning, and it's not even formal. Watch this shit. He said it's a formal warning shot, right? But guess what? This shit came in FedEx. This came in FedEx. I could have acted like I never got it. I never signed for this. This didn't come through certified mail. You didn't even give me something in certified mail. If you're going to serve me, that needs to be in certified mail so that you can certify the date that I got it. You didn't even send that shit in certified mail. You sent it overnight FedEx instead of certified mail. If you're going to fucking serve me, you have to send that shit certified mail so that you can certify that I got it. I could have took this shit and threw it in a garbage can and there wouldn't have been any proof that I got it. Just because it's delivered to my house doesn't mean that I got it. Somebody could have picked that shit up and threw it away. Why you stop lying? If it was a real attorney, you would have sent me a certified mail. Certified, so I had to sign for it. But anyway, I don't appreciate you lying on me, Blue Blood. I do not have any lawsuit out on me. Somebody asked me to remove, basically claiming that I defamed somebody by saying I think that they're cheaters. That's not defamation. It's true. If I think somebody's a cheater, I can say that, dumbass. There was nothing even defamatory about what I said. But look, dumbass, what is defamation, Blue Blood? You illiterate fuck. Did you get out of junior college? Have you? I mean, seriously, bro. You dudes is about as dumb as they come. Stop playing with me, bro. Stop playing with me. Bud walks around 180 plus. You fools think he's putting on extra money. Shut up. He does not walk around in no 180 plus. Stop it. You're trying to tell me Bud got down from 180 to 135? You think he cut from 180? Bud was at 135, you moron. You think he was weighing 180 pounds when he was fighting at 135? Look, bro, I don't care who said it. The fact of the matter is I didn't defame anybody because I have the same opinion everybody else does. But anyway, they have my phone so they can call me if they think anything else is defamatory, Blue Blood. You lying scam artist. Like, dog, you guys are scam artists. Flat out scam artists. Shame on you. You guys think you're smart or something. That shit's illegal. But that's okay. You know, keep making shit up. Meanwhile, you won't debate Manager Marty. Manager Marty is waiting for that debate, Blue Blood. Manager Marty. You know, the guy that you called all kind of dumb names and saw that stupid shit you said about him? But yet you won't sit down and have a conversation with this man because you're too big and important with your bought and paid for viewers, your bought and paid for subscribers. Nigga, you are fake as they come, bro. You are as fake as they come. Man, my blood pressure is fine. That certified mail loophole for non is sharp. Shot that down quick. I didn't go to law school, Blue Blade 2 days ago. Of course you didn't go to law school, you moron. But anyway, just because you tell me that you think I was defamed, that I defamed you. That doesn't mean that I defamed you just because you say I defamed you. I didn't defame anybody. I never defamed Bud. I said that Bud's glove blew up in a boxing ring. How is that defamatory? That's the truth. The truth is a defense to defamation. If I say Terrence Crawford's gloves blew up in a boxing ring, that's the truth. I can literally show you where his glove hit David Avanesyan and there was padding coming out of his glove. That's a fact. That cannot be defamation, you gap-toothed idiot. That's not defamation. That's the truth. And if I believe that the way that he gained weight is and he's working with Victor Conte makes me suspicious and I don't believe it, dude, I have the right to that, dummy. I have the right to that, dummy. How many people do you get away with this on? You know what it is? I understand this. You guys get a little bit of education and you think you're smarter than everybody, but you don't have enough education to actually to know what you're talking about. You get just enough knowledge to be able to fake an opinion. You guys running around talking about who you're going to sue for defamation. I mean, seriously, man, shame on you. And no joke, bro. There's no signature on this. There is no signature on this. This is not certified mail. You can't just drop the shit off in my door. You know what I mean? And also, I do believe you got to file that shit with a court too. But anyway, you guys just made some shit up, bro. Anyway, Terrence Crawford, I don't know whether or not you cheated or not with performance enhancers. I don't know because of all the questions that there are around VADA testing. I wonder how many people got sued this week because they said, hey, man, we don't believe Victor Conte. We think Victor Conte, we see what Fanon saw. We think that Terrence Crawford looks like a linebacker. How many people did you throw brushback pitches at, Blue Blood? I mean, I'm suspecting you niggas. Like, for real. I really suspect you guys of trying to con me. And then the reason I suspect you is because you got enough nerve to put it on video, even though I never said anything to anybody. I didn't say, the only thing that I said was that hey, thanks for reaching out to me, Terrence, and everything's cool. Appreciate it. That's all it was. So where did you guys get that I was sued from? Champ side. Seriously, champ side, I need to know, little man. Where did you find out? Who told you that I got sued, champ side? Who told you this information is what I want to know. Who told you? Did Terrence tell you? Where'd you get this information from? Because you knew about it apparently before I knew about it. How could you do a video about it before I tell anybody about it? I didn't, and then guess what? I never told anybody that I was sued because I wasn't sued. Wow, you guys got some real inside sources, huh? Your inside sources are so good that you know what's in my mail. That's amazing, isn't it? Like, you guys inside sources. Man, fuck you. I ain't getting sued. Sue me. Sue me, dumbass. For what? What are you going to sue me for, dummy? You're just going to sue me just to sue me? You idiot. I mean, you're going to sue me for what? Sue me for what? You just going to sue just to sue? You're going to sue just to sue? If you keep making me mad, I'm going to sue you. For what? I have freedom of speech. I can say what I want to say. He is a celebrity. There's a very high standard for defamation for celebrities. Very, very high. Which means you have to prove that I know what I'm saying is not true. You have to prove that you know that I know what I said is not true. Do you have any idea, you morons, how high a standard that is? Do you have any idea how hard it is to prove defamation against a celebrity? Do you know how hard it is? Because you have to prove that I know it's not true. You have to prove it. That you know that I know what I'm saying is not true. You will never pass that standard. Never. All you're trying to do is trying to get me to pay some lawyer's fees. But guess what? I don't have to pay a lawyer to know this shit will not go anywhere. Okay? And I know that you tried to intimidate me because in the conversation, which I would bring in front of a judge, they didn't say anything about defamation. They said that I don't have, shame on you. Say no to drugs, people. No, say no to you and get out of here, people. Man, fuck you. Saying he's a juice monster is not. He looks like a juice monster. That's not crossing a line. For me to say, let me help you with something. Since you said crossing the line, I know it's you now. Since I know it's you, no, that is not crossing the line. Because what I said was, he looks like a juice monster. That's what I said. He looks like one. That's my opinion, sir. My opinion. I can say you look like a juice monster. That's my opinion. Where's that? How is that defaming him? By saying he looks like a juice monster. How? I didn't say that I know that he's on juice and I know that that's not true. Shame on you guys. No, that's not crossing a line. But I don't like how you keep using the same terminology as that guy. I would appreciate it if you guys would stop trying to intimidate me. I would appreciate it if you would stop trying to manipulate people and go around talking to people, trying to keep people from listening to me. I would really appreciate it if you guys would behave like decent human beings. You know full well that I did not defame Terrence Crawford in anything that I said. It's my opinion. And anybody and everybody that practices law knows that your opinion is not defamation. Okay? Please stop trying to intimidate me. Please stop trying to fucking manipulate people not to support me. Just stop it. Because you guys look so desperate. You look so desperate. Man, why do you guys think you're funny, bro? Like, for real. Nobody is paying attention to you guys but me. Now, Blue Blood, have some courage, okay? And debate these people and be a man. As to Terrence Crawford and Terrence Crawford's team, stop trying to intimidate me. Because every statement that I make, I'm going to say it's not defamatory. This is not defamatory. Me saying that I think Terrence Crawford is suspect is not defamation. It's not close to defamation. The only thing that you're trying to do is intimidate me and get me to hire lawyers and waste my money. That's all you're trying to do. Try to get me to waste my money. I am not going to waste my money with any nonsense like that because you know, and that guy knew that there's no truth to what you're saying, and it's nothing but an attempt to influence and intimidate somebody that you don't like, which, by the way, is intentional infliction of emotional and mental distress, which is also a tort. No, I'm not doing that. Bro, you got to go, bro. I don't care. Dude, get out of here, bro. You guys are not worth talking to. You're ignorant. You're uneducated. And I'm so sorry to say that because so many young black men are uneducated, but they're decent human beings, good human beings that want to learn, want to know. You guys are just dumb, want to stay that way, manipulative pieces of shit, running around trying to skew people's view of reality with your lies. And shame on you. Shame on you for doing it. Shame on you for doing it. Shame on you for doing it. What up, King of Hating?
Yo, what's good with it?
I'm chilling, brother. Can't complain. What's on your mind, man?
Oh, it was something interesting that was said earlier, about the comparisons between Devin and Floyd, and how Devin was basically like, if you've seen Floyd Mayweather on Tubi. So There's a little 20-second clip I sent you on IG. I don't know if you can play it, or I guess you play with the sound off because it's just a little quick breakdown. When it comes to technique in boxing, because there are some things in boxing where you can learn it as a skill, and then some things where you have to adapt. It's like learning a recipe in cooking. You got all the steps, right? But then, like as you get better, then you can start experimenting, come up with your own blend of seasonings and everything, and then you make the dish your own. Boxing is pretty much the same way. And the problem with Devin is he's done all the fundamentals and the basics, but he's stuck in there, and he doesn't have enough like natural talent and athletic ability to go ahead and make that his own. It's kind of the same thing with or a difference between him and Floyd. Because you look at Floyd, like obviously Floyd wasn't the one who came up with the shoulder roll or the Philly shell, but like looking at what he's done with it, it's like, yeah, he really made it his own to the point that people call anyone who put their hands like that using the Mayweather style. So like it's like Michael Jackson and the moonwalk. He ain't invent the moonwalk, but everybody associated with him. That's basically what Floyd Mayweather did with the shoulder roll. He's the Michael Jackson with the shoulder roll. And Devin is like, that kid that got the two left feet, trying to do a dance, but then he can't do it. Get his legs tripped up, looking like Bambi, and a good look for him. So we got that going on. The other thing is boots. I know a lot of people talking about boots lately. I'm still not sold on them. That's just me personally. But like some of the options they was talking about for him to fight, I seen I seen when Brian Norman Sr. and Greg Hackett was talking, and like they was talking about Rashidi Ellis. I think it was Greg Hackett saying that Rashidi Ellis could be an opponent for Boots. And for me, it's just like, why? Because Rashidi Ellis is still at 147, and Boots just moved up to 154 because he can't make 147 anymore. So, like, what would be the point moving up to 154 to still fight dudes from 147? Especially when he been talking about he want to go in the undisputed ring. Like all the dudes that's champions right now or in the top 10, I think are pretty much available unless Virgil Ortiz and Keith Thurman fight. You know, I don't see why that one couldn't happen. I know they're saying that looks likely. Ortiz and Thurman, and then they was talking about Arnold Barboza Jr. and Frank Martin on the same card. I don't know if that's true or not. That's what's floating around out there. I know Sebastian Fundora just fought, and I pretty much all of them have just fought like between February and now, and there ain't really word on any of them having fights coming up. So they could probably do something by the end of the year, October at the earliest, like for Boots to go ahead and get up in there and fight one of them. Because it's like looking at people in the past, like the great fighters of the past, when they moved up in weight, they was going right at whoever the top person was. And I know like the one person that everybody always want to compare these new up and comers to is Floyd Mayweather. It's like, well, look at Floyd, look at Pacquiao, look at all them guys who was moving up, right? What did they do? If they was a champion, they moved up and tried to fight the champion in the same sanctioning body that they held the belt for in the weight class below. And a lot of them is really cool about doing that, especially WBO. I know IBF is the one that don't really do it. But like looking at that, like Boots got options at 154 if those are fights that they're trying to make. You know what I mean? So like for me, I'm just looking at it like some of the names that they're throwing out there because it was like Rashidi Ellis and like three others that people were speculating as possible opponents for Boots. For me, it's just like why? Because if they do it that way, then it ends up like Shakur Stevenson, where you chasing prospects instead of greatness. But why you saying you're chasing greatness? Like that's the one thing that Boots are gonna end up in, and that's one of the reasons why for me, even if Eddie kept his word to him and he was happy with everything that Eddie did, like re-signing with Matchroom is basically like the modern day version of re-signing with Top Rank in the past. You know how it was with Top Rank in the past. People be wanting Top Rank fighters to fight other people, like back when Tim Bradley was with him, when Bud was with him. And it was like, okay, how come you guys can't fight like Keith Thurman or any of these guys on PBC? And it's like, nah, because we with Top Rank. And Top Rank is doing everything in-house right now. Matchroom is kind of the same, and Eddie can't, he can't guarantee them fights. I think he just got lucky with Oscar and Zepeda recently. But outside of that, I don't know of any other fights that Eddie can guarantee for Boots at this point that would be something people care about. Because like his last opponent, Stanionis, that basically looked like the way Keyshawn Davis and Brennan looked. So it's like if he move up and he don't fight a guy at 154 that people think is worth it, damn, then he could end up in that same situation where people are going to be like, okay, what the hell is Boots doing with his career? And then he's
Yeah,
going to
but
end up.
can we just see his next fight, man? I mean, we overthinking that. Can we just see his next fight and not complain too much about it? We'll see who he fights. That dude ain't scared of these guys, man.
I don't think he's scared of him. I don't think he's scared of him. I think a lot of people just out here saying like for any reason that the fight don't happen, it's automatically a duck. Like that.
Yeah, I get a little tired up. I just want to see him get there and fight one guy at 154. I don't have a problem with him. I just want to see these guys active, man. I want to see him active. So, there's a lot of moving parts, and you got Turkey Al-Sheikh sticking his fingers in everybody's business. So, I'm hopeful for him.
Yeah. Speaking of that Turkey guy, man, see how many people that came out to make happy birthday videos for him?
Yeah, man. The guy's got an ego. The dude's got problems.
I'm like, shit, at least they didn't induct him into the Hall of Fame again this year. Like, shit.
I don't even get it. Honestly, bro, do you celebrate your birthday?
Like me personally, not so much. Like the people around me will like say, hey, we doing this party or dinner for you. But for me, I just, I just be thankful that I made it another year and, keep it going.
Yeah. I'm not, I got kind of conservative take on birthdays. Like, nigga, you too old for everybody to be wishing you happy birthday, dog. You okay, man. You'll live another year. You know what I mean? But anyway, I just don't fuck with dude at all. So everything, like, I know that I got a jaded view when it comes to that dude. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just think that he's trying to be like too many control freaks in the kitchen. Too many control freaks in the kitchen.
I know, right? It's like everybody like they leave that pot cooking on Thanksgiving, and then everyone go to take a taste, but they don't want to add their own seasoning to it.
Yeah, let me say something to this troll, bro. Look, man, I'm gonna respond for the last time to you trolls today. Okay, but let me say this to you so you guys get this. Anybody that's saying that I'm gay, you're not gonna bother me at all by telling me that. You know why? Because it's not true. And not only is it not true, brother, if you had been with the type of women that I've been with in my life, dog, you would be feeling extremely fucking happy. Okay? So you bum ass niggas ain't never had the type of women that I've had. So you niggas are the ones out there butt buddying, hugging up on each other because nobody wants your ugly asses. We know that's what turns you niggas into them sweetie pies, bro. Okay? You can say that shit about me all day. It doesn't make a difference to me because it's not true. If I say it to you, though, hit dog holler, hit dogs holler. Because I'm not running around with a guy in a dress trying to hold his hand and get him to pay me fucking money. Okay? You're doing that booty bandit shit. Anyway, I'm sorry. I had to digress for the blue blood fans that come over here.
Them people. But man. I know that they might not be around come what is it, November 22nd when that fight's supposed to go down. Or maybe somebody get injured during training camp, or maybe somebody catch the flu or a stomach bug and end up in the hospital or something. I don't know, but I think that now that the whole Vada thing is what I guess okay now. I think what was first.
Kilo Netter said wanting ring boys and shit. Ring card boys.
No, they need to consult with Jake Paul and MVP to see who they got for their last fight. That Katie Taylor and Serrano.
Did you see the reaction of Jake Paul's partner when somebody asked him about ring card boys? He's like, you want ring card boys? Man, get out of here, man. Bro, you guys These niggas, you fugazi ass niggas, really are pushing ring card boys, man. Come on, man.
You know what the crazy thing about that is? I mean, like, if it's really that bad and they don't really be liking women, they don't want people to be looking at like shoot. At least they could put them in like those potato sacks. If they really got to do it, like to do it the way, just do it the way they do it back home.
Hell no. You know what they need? They need ring card girl. They need ring card girls that are with big booties and nice size hips, breast, a little bit of cellulite, just to make sure we know it's real. Okay. Other than that, that's the only change that I would be changing to the ring card girls. I would make the ring card girls a little bit more full body. You know what I mean? Let me see some hips on them mugs. But other than that, bro, we don't need no ring card boys, man. And anybody that supports ring card boys, I'm sorry, I can't support you being part of this sport. I think that there's a hard cutoff on ring card boys. Like, seriously, there should be a real hard cutoff. Anytime you try to put any type of fugaziness like that into this sport, we should immediately get rid of you. Like, come on, man. No way in the world. And I mean, seriously, if you allow them to put ring card boys into circulation, what's next? Seriously, what's next? What's next? You're gonna be what are you gonna start having the men fighting like? Oh my God, no! You're gonna have them like they're gonna start having them fighting spandex and shit. That's what Turkey want.
Oh nah.
No, they're gonna get rid of their shorts. That's the next move. They don't want shorts anymore. They want these guys to have spandex like Jim Jones and them. What's the dude's name in the UFC?
Oh, you talking about John Jones?
Yeah, John Jones and shit. They're gonna have them niggas dressed up like John Jones in tights and shit, rolling around on the floor.
I wonder if that's
you hear the UFC. You hear that the UFC is failing, right?
Oh, they've been failing. We know that.
Love it. There's a link. Come on. Hey, let me get this Cash App real quick. Let me get this.
Okay.
I'm sorry, man. I cut you off.
No, you do.
DA said, hey, DA said, Bud looks like a juice monster, Team Spence. Yeah, bro, I want to tell you that that's not defamation. If I said Bud looks like a juice monster, that's not defamation. I didn't say, first of all, again, let me explain the law to you guys. I have to know what I'm saying is not true. So say, for example, if I said Martin tried to have sex with BFTB, and I know that that's not true because Martin has never even met BFTB in person ever. But you were to say it, even though you know it's not true, that's defamation because you said something you know not to be true. If I say Bud looks like a juice monster, I don't know that that's not true. You can't prove that I know he doesn't look like a juice monster. You can't prove that. No chance. So, dog, you guys just need to go away, man. Go away, bro. What's on your mind? Oh, I gave the link.
Yeah, I was gonna say, as far as defamation goes, like shoot, Floyd Mayweather could get them for saying that Devin Haney looked like him. Haney, that's Floyd. That's something that's not true.
Terrence Crawford could get sued by Manny Pacquiao for Terrence Crawford saying that Manny Pacquiao looked like he was juicing. Terrence Crawford has said that shit himself about Manny Pacquiao, but nobody can say it about him. Come on, man. What do you think this is? You think it's that easy to ruin somebody's fucking life? That you can just send a piece of paper at them and then all of a sudden they can't say anything anymore? Because they're scared of your lawyer? I'm not scared of your lawyer, bro. What's going on, Kamal?
What up, Fanon? What the hell is Turkey thinking, man? You got Benavidez and Beterbiev on the same card, but they're not fighting each other. And you know what's going on with Bivol? First, you have I told you I broke the news on your program about Beterbiev posting on social media that he's being aged out by Bivol and Turkey. And then you got him fighting. You got Beterbiev fighting Jack Nicholson. You can't handle the truth. And you got Benavidez fighting Anthony Yard, who Beterbiev knocked out. Why not just make Beterbiev versus Benavidez, and the winner fights Bivol.
Because they already screwed up when WBC wanted to go ahead and make that fight, but then they had Bivol drop the belt.
I don't know what they're thinking, man. I don't know. Is there going to
What's
be
the
a
lineup
trilogy?
again? What's the lineup again?
It's Beterbiev is fighting some dude named Damon Nicholson, Jack Nicholson. I don't know. Never heard of the guy. And then of course, Benavidez is fighting Yard, and they're on the same card.
Instead of making Beterbiev Benavidez.
Exactly. And instead of making the trilogy, supposedly Bevo dropped the WBC, or the WBC stripped him early so that we could get and so that they were going to make Bevo Benavidez the trilogy. So nobody knows what's up with the trilogy. And remember, I was on your show and I was talking to you about how Beterbiev was on social media saying that he was being aged out.
Yeah.
They were trying to make him older and older to get the trilogy.
Yeah, that was the thing that they screwed up with Turkey, because I knew that was going to happen as soon as Benavidez said that he don't want to fight in Saudi, and then it was right after that when Turkey said he's not interested in making Benavidez and Bivol, even though Benavidez was the mandatory for WBC. So because Bivol didn't take that fight, and they were talking about the trilogy, that's why he had to drop the belt, and that's why Benavidez got the WBC belt right now on 175. And then besides that, them trying to push for the rematch with Beterbiev, I don't think anybody wants the trilogy for real. For real, it'll be a thing where it's like, just because, like, well, look how many fighters had trilogies, and they got two. Why stop at two? Let's go ahead and make it a trilogy, because trilogies are great. It would be like a just because thing, in my opinion. So that's why I think that ain't happen. And I'm about to hop off. I'm about to go to this meeting here in about 20 minutes. Got to prep. Last time, I wonder, the whole ring card girls, ring card dude. I think that might be something that Dana White and Turkey butt heads over. You know how the UFC be doing, and you know that I think it's Zuffa that's going to be promoting or putting on the show for Bud and Canelo. So what they're going to do? They're going to let Dana White operate his way, or they're going to have to do it the Turkey way. And if it's really that bad, they're going to have to do holographic or hologram ring card girls like it's Coachella or something. I don't know. But,
it's going to be weird. I know that they said I read that they said that they're going to do like a major fight, like a major card a year or something like that. That's always going to be like the Bud Canelo big thing, but all of their undercards are going to be up and coming, developing fighters that they're going to try to grow, but they're going to try to grow them with one big fight. Good luck with that, because these guys are going to want to make that money right away. But anyway, yeah, that's what I heard.
It's like trying to grow flower when you water it one time.
I mean, look, man, I don't think that you're going to be. I think that these fighters are going to, they just need to be American fighters in the United States, and it's going to naturally occur that these people will. I don't think these promoters are really capable of developing people like that. I think a certain amount of it has just got to be the fighter themselves has to be somebody that fights in a way that's entertaining, and they've got to have some type of personality that clicks with people or clicks with a large fan base, and they just can't make that shit up. They try to do that shit with Devin by having Devin copy Gervonta all the time, but it's just not authentic. He can have the tattoos on his legs, he can have the gold in his mouth, but he still comes across like a suburban kid. And he's never going to really resonate with the same people that Gervonta resonates with. I don't think that these guys are really capable of really growing a really big star like that. I think it's got to be in the fighter themselves, and to a certain extent, it's going to be the luck of the draw. What's your thoughts on that?
I would say my answer for it, I would say like their thing is they got to look at the fighter, look at who they are as a person, and find a way to make that appealing. Like a salesman. You know how salesmen do out there in the car lots. People on the edge about, buying some type of car, but they're going to talk them into it. That's what they got to do instead of trying to, go ahead and pass off like one of them old ass Ford Pintos as like a new Dodge Charger. That's basically what they're doing with Devin. Like any fighter like that don't have the organic appeal to people. And what they got to do is go ahead and say, okay, this is what they're good at. This is who they are as a person. Let's work with that and go ahead and find a way to make that appealing to people, market it the right way. But they're not doing that. They're trying to force change and then force people to believe whatever story they're spinning. And then when it don't add up, they're stuck. And then even double down on it at times and then just make it worse. So that's how I feel about that.
Yes, sir. But thanks, Ennis. What's on your mind? Come on.
Hey, Fanon, what's up? So, they are listening to your show, Fanon, because remember when I came on your show earlier this week and I said, who's Boots going to fight? I went through the top 15 and I broke down the list of people that I thought Eddie Hearn was going to get for Boots. Remember that?
Yeah, the day before yesterday. Yep.
And it was revealed that he sent 4 contract offers out. And those were the same people I talked about. I specifically talked about Rashidi Ellis moving up from 147 to 154 to fight Boots. And I got a different take on this than my guy in Knockout Boxing and Phoenix. I actually wouldn't mind a Rashidi with some of the other names being bandied about. I wouldn't mind a Rashidi Ellis versus Boots fight because first of all, it's a Philly rivalry. Rashidi Ellis, he did lose to Romain Villa, but if you go back to that fight, there were people who thought that even despite him kind of wearing out in the last few rounds, there were people who thought that actually Speedy beat Romain Villa. I don't know if you remember the
I remember that
nuances of
fight.
that
I
fight.
thought he won the fight. I thought he won the fight. It's just that Romeo Villa just came on late and started putting some work later in the fight. But I thought that Speedy Rashidi won that fight.
Yeah, so again, so there's Fanon right there telling you, and Fanon is not alone. There were many people. Rewind the fight, guys. Even though Romain Villa was kind of like what's his name, Michael Myers coming on late in the fight. Just people thought that even with that Speedy won. So I wouldn't mind that fight per se because you look at a guy like Speedy Rashidi, he beat one of Golden Boy's cash cows that they thought they had. And then Golden Boy shelved him.
We were talking about what's his name? The guy that wound up going up there and he wound up beating Blair Cobb. God, what is his name? The dude Speedy beat.
Some Mexican dude. I forgot his name too. He knocked out Blair Cobb, but Speedy beat him. And then Golden Boy shelved Speedy. They punished him for beating that guy. And then Speedy went to PBC because of that. So he has been treated in a disrespectful way, in my opinion, after having a marquee win. I mean, that should have projected him to do great things in boxing, and then Golden Boy just had him on the shelf.
Alexis Rocha.
Rocha, that's the guy. My bad. Yeah, Alexis Rocha. So he schooled Alexis Rocha, and then Golden Boy sat him down. They sat him down like he was this jabroni. What's his name? What's that guy's name? I'm thinking of Keyshawn Beetlejuice Davis. Like Keyshawn Beetlejuice. They sat him down like he did something wrong when he schooled Alexis Rocha. That should have projected him to new heights. So if you're looking at the list, Charles Conwell, would have been a good win or a good fight, but he's coming off of a loss. Okay, so. And he's still somebody that you could maybe make some money off of. So I don't see Golden Boy putting him in there with Boots. So I wouldn't mind the Speedy Rashidi Ellis. We've seen with Gervonta Tank Davis and his opponent there from DC, Roach, that these kind of local rivalries and amateur rivalries can be good fights. And you look at somebody like Speedy Rashidi Ellis that has been hard done by. So I wouldn't mind that fight. But I went over the Katsarakis guy, completely unknown in America. Josh Kelly saying that they're being lowballed. Again, Eddie Hearn constantly plays these bait and switch tactics, Fanon. He has these ridiculously lowball offers that he sends out that people know that are just lower than what they'll take. And he says, you got 24 hours. He goes through the media, negotiates with the media. Same thing he did to Deontay Wilder. And unfortunately, with Boots re-signing with him, he's put himself to be a part of that circus again. And we're going to get the same thing he did. Unfortunately, this is looking like Boo Boo Andre 2.0, where Boo Boo's, on the same side of the street with Bum Lufkin and Clenelho, and those are the natural fights to make. But Eddie Hearn can't or won't make those fights. And then you got him playing these gaslighting games and trying to link Jamal Charlo to Boo Boo Andre, who Jamal Charlo's on the opposite side of the street. And it's not the logical fight. And then you got corporate media and Eddie Hearn trying to blame Jamal Charlo for somehow ducking Boo Boo Andre. And you got Boo Boo Andre fighting the guys like Jason Quigley, Walter Katendakwa. You got him fighting Artur Akov, Selecki. You got him, for the most part, fighting nondescript opponents or opponents that Danny Jacobs had already beat. The only, African-American fighter that I'll give Eddie Hearn credit for doing something with was Danny Jacobs, because he made Danny Jacobs active, because Danny Jacobs, when he was with the PBC, wasn't as active, and that was one of his major gripes. And he did get Danny Jacobs the Clonelho fight. So that's the only fight the only fighter I'm giving him credit for in America, period, black or white, that he signed, because he had all those other guys like Michael Hunter and Tevin Farmer. He just dumped those guys. He unceremoniously just released them. So, I mean, I'm seeing the Boots thing. They're listening to our show, Fanon, because the list of opponents is who I went through at 154. And I said, you know what? I mentioned Terrell Goucher. I said Terrell Goucher. I felt like that would be a decent fight. An Olympian for Haiti, and also some guy who's been around the block, who's fought a lot of names. I mentioned him. He didn't get an offer, so maybe he will get an offer. But I wouldn't actually mind the Speedy Rashidi Ellis fight. What is your thought on that? And my using of the example of Roach and Tank, and then Shea Mosley and Vernon Forrest to talk about that Speedy Rashidi Boots potential fight. Fanon.
Look, first of all, I would take the Speedy Rashidi Ellis with Jaron Ennis. I think that'd be a really good fight. I think that'd be a good fight, a fun fight to see. You're going to have Jaron Ennis trying to walk down Speedy Rashidi, and Rashidi's going to be on his back foot, and I eventually see Jaron getting him. I think that's a good fight. I'm not going to complain about it. It's a young American fighter that gets an opportunity at Jaron to get his career on track. I'd be happy for Speedy if he got that fight. Happy for him, similar to the way I was happy for Lamont Roach being able to get a Gervonta fight. I don't want to be in the business of shitting on every single solitary fight. Now, if he doesn't, obviously I want to see the fights with Virgil Ortiz and what's Buyachuk is at 154. Isn't Buyachuk a champion at 154?
Boachuk is not a champion, but he's a guy that nobody wants to fight, and many people thought that he was robbed against Virgil Ortiz. And just like with Crawford and Madrimov, with people thinking that Madrimov won, in the aftermath of the controversial decision, Boachuk and Robert Garcia said they'd do a rematch with Boachuk, but they ran away from the rematch, just like Crawford ran away from the Madrimov fight. He is a dangerous fight for anyone.
Yeah, he's a good fight. So anyway, 154 is, there's a lot of good stuff there, man. So I want to see him in there. Shoot, I would Errol if Errol comes back in 154, but I just don't want to be in the business of crapping on everybody's fight all the time, man. It's I just got such a headache with that stuff with Lamont Roach and what they did with Gervonta. Just constantly complaining about every single solitary fight that gets made. It's getting old to me. So I don't want to do that. And I don't want to do that to Speedy Rashidi Ellis, because he's a good fighter and he deserves a shot. He deserves a chance in a big name fighter like Jaron, just like anybody else does. So it better than him not being active, but I'm not the biggest fan of Jaron being over at Matchroom, because I don't think that Eddie Hearn is ever going to make Jaron Ennis his number one priority over there. I think that's a UK promotional company, and I think it's a bad fit for an American fighter, unless you're trying to just do those piggyback type fights. He said, let me say, what did he say? I feel about Boots like y'all feel about Tank. I don't care who he fights. That's pretty much how I feel. I just want to see these guys fight. I want to see them in a ring. That's my take on it.
Yeah, so we're on the same page with Speedy Rashidi, because I think that would be a good fight. He has a higher profile than these kind of the names that I went over at the top 15, other than a Terrell Goucher, which I actually wouldn't mind, because Terrell Goucher is someone who I think is
that's a gatekeeper right there. Terrell Goucher.
He is a gatekeeper. He's a gatekeeper, but he's a guy who can give you quality work, and he's a good measuring stick, right?
Yeah.
He's like a Darnell Boone kind of, but with less losses, and he's an Olympian, so he's a quality guy. So I wouldn't.
He is.
with Speedy Rashidi again. That's a dangerous fight, as someone was saying in the chat, because we've seen these local rivalries, these amateur beefs. Those are tougher fights than people give them credit for. Same thing with Tank and with Lamont Roach. So that's actually I'm me and you are on the same mind with that. The thing is though, is that we want to see again, we want to see Boots build off of that. We want to see him get the bigger names. And with Eddie Hearn, like you said, he's not a priority. And Eddie Hearn is the other thing is he's not using his big soapbox to counter the negative propaganda that goes against Boots when people say that Boots is a duck for the Virgil Ortiz situation. When Virgil Ortiz, y'all want to be truthful, he fought a dude with an aneurysm, somebody who could die at any
Yeah.
moment. Virgil Ortiz fought somebody with an active aneurysm who somehow got cleared to fight. And y'all are saying Boots is a duck? It's crazy.
They stuck on negativity when it comes to certain fighters. It's like they don't want anybody to be happy. Like I'm thoroughly convinced that they just don't want people to be happy about their fighter. So if too many black people get behind a certain fighter or he look too good, they start that campaign on him. And definitely Bill Haney and them dudes are so jealous of anybody getting any attention other than Devin that they pretty much attack anybody that they consider to be on the other side of the street. I mean, for real, that's what it looks like to me. That's the only logic that makes sense, man.
And speaking, I'm glad you transitioned this. That was a natural transition because that was my next point. Remember how I told you, Fanon, people are giving the Haneys credit for fighting Brian Norman Jr. And I said, look, the way Turkey's operating, he's not going to let you fight a bunch of kind of nondescript opponents if you have a certain fighting style. If you're not like a Jayo Bataya or someone who's bringing excitement to the ring, he's going to put you in with dangerous opponents. I sent you videos, and I don't know if you remember me saying that, but I've sent you videos about Brian Norman Jr. saying that the Haneys were forced into the Brian Norman fight. I don't know if you saw those videos I sent.
Yeah, I saw the videos because I said the shit myself. He's forced into that. He got nowhere else to go. Like he lost to Ryan Garcia because he can't make the Ryan Garcia fight. So where is he going to do? What else is Devin is like? They make believe like this dude is some star. He's not. He's a boring watch, but his team's got a big mouth. So he's just food that they're waiting to serve to the next guy coming up. Nobody's stunting for Devin Haney anymore, man. Nobody thinks this dude's career is on some Hall of Fame trajectory. He fucked that off.
He did. And the thing is, they saw, and see, this is where T-Ho got angry because T-Ho's been putting up stinkers. And I've gone on this show and I've told you that Top Rank has tried to make T.O. this big star, having him right after the Heisman and having him copy Gervonta's backflips and all this other stuff. And he's put up stinkers against guys like Steve Claggett that was designed to be like a highlight reel knockout. And anyway, he's been T.O. and his missed opportunities. He's been the John Stockton to Devin Haney being the Karl Malone because he's dropped the ball and Devin Haney is taking it. You know, you lose to a guy like Kambosos, who was the worst ever unified champion that I can remember, Fanon, and then Devin Haney goes 24 boring rounds with him and beats him because he's cleaning up your food. Then you have an opportunity to earn the Boots fight by moving up, using your WBO top rank privilege to challenge Brian Norman Jr., T-Ho does, and he doesn't take it, and then Devin Haney fights him. So Turkey, I'm assuming I'm not party to the negotiations. Turkey saw the Barbosa T.O. fight. He saw T.O.'s last few performances, and T.O.'s not exciting in the ring. T.O. releases sparring footage of him and Shakur that basically is like shadow boxing. That was a boring shit. You know, Shakur's now calling out T.O. Who's going to pay big money to fight that? So people are saying T.O.'s not really that exciting. So why is, and this is the one moment you're going to hear me defend Turkey. Turkey's not going to pay T.O. and Devin the same amount of money to fight each other as they would pay for Devin versus Boots or Devin versus Brian Norman Jr. because those are guaranteed. At least one side is guaranteed excitement. The other side, we know what it's going to get. So that's going to be a stinker. So again, with what's going on, is to pick up what Fanon and Brian Norman Jr. were saying, Brian Norman Sr. were saying. He's not going to pay Devin and Bill the kind of money that they demand, despite what your YouTube echo chambers want to say, that these guys that are Haney act 100%. to fight these nondescript opponents. Same thing with Shakur. He's not going to put up this big money for Stinkfest. Yeah, you got the Ramirez fight. I told you Ramirez was a tune-up, but to fight these kind of, to make the money these guys want, these guys demand, these guys that are not really earning what they have, he's going to put them in with guys that are perceived as bringing the action. And that's why Brian Norman Sr. said on that Fight Hype video that I sent you, that Devin was forced into the fight because he wasn't going to get the kind of money that he demanded with his ridiculous money demands to fight the nondescript opponent. Dapper Douglas brought up a good point about Erickson Lubin. I want to answer that. Erickson Lubin, I guess, is now with Pro Box. He and Bakram Murtalayev are going to a purse bid. They haven't been able to come to terms for the IBF mandatory title defense for Murtalayev. So Pro Box and Murtalayev people. Murtalayev is with Kathy Duckva, and I call her Kathy Duckva because Kovalev ducked his own purse bid against Adonis Stevenson. Corporate media didn't cover that properly, of course, and we know why. So they're going to a purse bid, Murtalayev and Lubin. So you got to watch out for that.
Murtalayev and Lubin, yeah, I saw that just going to a purse bid.
Absolutely. I see 2 Cents is on. I'll take a little break. I'm still here, and I still want to talk. But 2 Cents, you share. I'll listen in the background.
Yeah, what's going on, Fanon? What's going on, Kamal? What's up, chat? I got a theory about Boots, and I want you to let me know if this is plausible, right? So Eddie Hearn gets Boots, and he's promised, okay, this will be the purse I'll pay you for all of your fights. So Boots feels like, okay, he's gonna keep me active and he's gonna get me paid. But he didn't mention how much he gonna pay his opponents. So I'm wondering if it's a case like, okay, this is the budget for the opponents. If you want better competition, you got to come out of your pocket to pay the opponent, which is why he had to come out of his pocket to pay Stanionis allegedly. So I'm curious, like, is that what Eddie Hearn is doing? Or is Eddie Hearn trying to force Boots to have a big fight, but take it in Saudi so that Turkey could cover it?
Your take on that, Kamal? My thing is, I don't know. I couldn't tell you that. I think that Eddie Hearn is definitely going to try to make money on the fight cards that he has. So yeah, if he's going to pay him a certain amount of money, he's not going to have a lot of money for the opponent. I think
so. Because they're saying he's offering people $250K, and I'm like, I don't know how true that is, but nobody's going to fight Boots Ennis for $250,000. Like that sounds like
TKO. That sounds like those TKO purses.
And so that and if that's what Eddie Hearn is gonna do, Boots is just gonna be stuck fighting Euro level talent because nobody is going to take $250 to fight Jerron Boots Ennis in Philly. Like it's just not gonna happen. So the scrutiny, the criticism, Boots is gonna have to deal with that and eat that because he decided to sign back with Eddie Hearn, which we don't know if he even had any better offers. Everybody like, you should go to the PBC. Like, how do y'all know that was even an available option? But he's going to continue to have to get the scrutiny because of the way Eddie Hearn does his promoting. People not happy with that over here in America. But I was just curious if y'all had any thoughts on that. Like, is he trying to force him to fight in Saudi? Like, what is going on? Because I know of a lot of 54 pounders are not available. But what level, who could Boots fight that's available right now that people will be like, okay, that's a decent fight? Because everybody they bring up now, they in an uproar about it.
I don't think they will be. It doesn't matter. I'm telling you. It's like Gervonta. They don't care. They're going to do whoever Gervonta fight is going to be a bad fight. Whoever Jerron fights is going to be a bad fight. I'm telling you. They start with the answer and work backwards. That's my take. Like, I don't know who he could fight that they would be happy with. He just fought Stanionis, and they weren't happy with Stanionis. Last time I checked, Stanionis was an undefeated fighter and a very solid fighter that beat but what's the guy's name? Who was the guy's name who he beat?
Batayev. Rutsev Batayev, the Russian guy, the undefeated guy. That was a 50-50 fight going in. Actually, Batayev might have been the favorite.
I think he was, and he was the guy that had beaten Jamal James before that. So he's a legitimate dude. They're not giving him any credit for unifying. I mean, he unified in the 147-pound division. I saw somebody leave a comment on one of my pages. One of these comments they left, they were like, unifying is not an accomplishment. I'm like, being a unified champion is not an accomplishment all of a sudden? Since when? Oh, since it's Duran, unification, unifying the belt is not an accomplishment. You have to have all four in order for it to be an accomplishment. I'm telling you, they stuck on. I think they're getting paid to tear the kid down. Personally, that's what I think. I think they're getting paid to tear him down.
I agree, and I agree. To pick up on your point, 2 cents is you look at Tank. What did they say about Tank? He doesn't fight black fighters, so he fights Hector Garcia, who, and some of you guys are so ignorant. Learn about the slave trade. Learn about your history. All Africans were taken to America. Brazil is mostly black. Their slaves were taken from Angola. Okay, Dominican Republic, Haiti, most of those people in Dominican Republic are black. So Hector Garcia is black. And then he fights Frank Martin. And then going into the fight, people are saying, oh, Frank Martin, that's a good fight. I'm surprised Tank is fighting an African-American prime guy. And then after he beats Frank Martin, they start tearing him down. So we're seeing the same thing with Tank about fighting black fighters. He fights Lamont Roach. And then they lie on Lamont Roach and say that he's a smaller guy who hasn't fought in the division. And we look at Lamont Roach and he has fought in the division. So I think with Boots, to pick up on what 2 Cents was saying, it's clear that Turkey has taken a negative opinion with Boots because he's publicly shat on him multiple times. He's lied on him when it came to the Virgil Ortiz fight. And that's my biggest thing with Eddie Hearn and why I wouldn't have re-signed with him is because when Turkey was disrespecting Boots and I think gaslighting the public about that Virgil Ortiz fight, because I think that was a setup. You don't immediately Virgil Ortiz didn't fight somebody on Boots's level or on his own level when he first went up to 154. He fought a guy off an aneurysm who has an aneurysm, who should have never been cleared to fight. So Boots was set up in that Virgil Ortiz negotiations. But Eddie Hearn was nowhere in the public defending his fighter. The only person in the public who defended him and said Boots doesn't duck anybody was the guy that Bozy and Boots ended their relationship with, the managerial, was Steven Espinoza. So I think that with a lot of these fighters that are under Matchroom or Frank Warren, Turkey subsidizes the fights. And well, I know he does with the money and stuff like that. But for some of the fighters or some of the matchups, Turkey doesn't subsidize them. So they're coming out of their own pocket, and some of them don't, like people like Eddie Hearn. He has the money, but maybe he doesn't want to put the money forth for Boots' opponents. He wants to use the Boo Andrade strategy. So you're not going to get a lot of these guys to accept those kind of terms unless they're, African kind of guys that no one's ever heard of, or Euro bums that nobody's ever heard of, or maybe somebody in the Philippines or Thailand or something that no one's ever heard of. So I think that point was very an astute analysis because for whatever reason, just like with the Joseph Parker Usyk fight, that's the only fight that's left for Usyk at heavyweight is the Parker fight, and Parker deserves it. Parker's been on a hell of a run. And Turkey and through Ring has released that he's not interested in the fight, that he's going to do what he can do to torpedo the fight. So in other words, he's not going to subsidize it. And so it wouldn't be surprising if Usyk doesn't fight Parker, despite the public saying that's a good fight. We don't need to see a useless trilogy with Fury and Usyk because Usyk beat Fury easily 2 times. Okay, so it's a matter of, I think, with the subsidies and these people relying on Turkey as quote unquote their sugar daddy, and Boots for whatever reason is not in a favorable light with Turkey. So I think, to go to your question, I think that your point, I think that's an astute analysis. 2 cents.
So he's
Excellent.
not good with Turkey because what he don't do what Turkey want him to do.
If I had to say so, I mean, I and again, I'm not saying that overall that I'd say he's not favored. He's not favored like a Shakur or like a Devin or like these ring ambassadors, Hamza Shiraz. And if you look at the public statements, Turkey released horrible public statements that really damaged Boots' reputation. He's the one who went in the media calling him a duck artist. He's the one who went on a campaign saying that he ducked Virgil Ortiz and Eddie Hearn was nowhere there defending him. So I think there's certain fights that Turkey will subsidize for Boots, like a Devin Haney or like a Teofimo Lopez. But the rest of them, he's not really going to subsidize. And Boots made the decision that he was not going to do what Earl Spence did and drain himself at 147. And I think that Eddie Hearn said that the doctor said he was at 30% of his operational function if he stayed at 147, that he needed to move up to 154. So Boots, to his credit, learned from the mistakes that Errol made. And so there are only certain fights that Turkey will subsidize. And he, through Turkey's own actions and his words, he's trashed Boots in public. And so he's not a favored guy over there. And so I do think that Eddie Hearn will only open up his purse strings to a limited capacity for Boots. And that's why these guys are getting lower bids, because Turkey's not willing to go all in on all of Boots' opponents. And, it'd be stupid for Boots to, in his first fight at 154, to fight a guy like Virgil Ortiz, who has been active and has racked up wins, especially. And, you guys want to call Boots a duck, you're lying. Well, why didn't Virgil rematch Boachuk? Why didn't Crawford rematch Madrimov? So that's my point. If you can remember the campaign and the tirade that Turkey went out there dissing Boots, and that was one of the reasons why I say he needs to go back to PBC and that side of the street. And I don't know. Again, I don't know that he had an offer from there. I assume that they have been interested. I assume that Luis de Cubas, if you can't meet with Al Heyman, Luis de Cubas is pretty big over at PBC. I assume he would take the call and he would meet with Boots and say, hey, we're interested. I don't know. So that was my assumption. But I think that he's not one of those favored guys over there. He hasn't been named a ring ambassador and all that other stuff. That's my point. And that the money thing for his opponents, that is a real thing, because Eddie Hearn's not willing to go as much into his purse to actually make a fight. So it's Boo Boo Andrade 2.0, where you're fighting these African and European level fighters because, you're not getting the bigger fights. That's my assumption, or that's my analysis.
Yeah, I just think that my take on it is probably a lot less complicated. I think that Turkey Al-Sheikh's a fucking idiot. And I think that the only thing that he does is he lives on the internet. So he's going to talk to any buffoon that is out there running their mouth on the internet. That's what he seems to me. He's because he's always tweeting. He lives a social media world. And so Jerron is not somebody that is out there doing it. He's not going to talk like Shakur Stevenson talks. He's not doing the buffoonery that Bill Haney and Devin Haney are doing. He's not doing what that Teofimo Lopez and all those guys are doing. He's just basically a quiet guy. And even like, if you notice something about Boots, like it's hard to get a good picture of Boots. Like when I do like thumbnails and stuff, like I'm always looking for like somebody like doing making a facial expression or something that can be intriguing. Boots doesn't even do that. Like you can't find anything from Boots really that is where he's really trying to make himself stand out other than the boxing ring. So he's kind of like I'm not saying he's skittish like Floyd Patterson, but Floyd Patterson is somebody that, like, when he wasn't boxing, he disappears.
Like Earl? Well, no, not Earl.
Yeah, Errol does a little bit more, but Errol talks shit, like really can talk shit. Like Boots doesn't even know how to talk shit, really. He'll be like, no, I ain't worried, I'm gonna beat him up. That's all he'll say. He's not, he's far from Muhammad Ali. He's not an egomaniac. Like you don't get a sense that he's an egomaniac. You just get a sense that he's really, really good at what he's doing, and he's just gonna
and confident.
Yeah, he's just confident. But I don't think Turkey's ever gonna really support him, because I think Turkey's full of shit. I think he's just there. I think Turkey's in boxing primarily to make Turkey feel good about Turkey. Like
I think he's here to tear down the American market. I'm looking at it and I'm just like, I don't know. It's weird. Like the big name American fighters he take, what happens to him? Like he literally made Canelo disappear. And you can't hear me?
I can hear you. I was just talking. Let me get these couple of super chats real fast. Bill and Turkey is behind these clowns. I know full well Bill and Turkey are behind that shit. Bill Haney hates me and Turkey Al-Sheikh can't stand me. But Turkey Al-Sheikh can't do shit, so fuck you, Turkey. Jeep Red Boy in the building. Thank you for the $20 holler. And Dirty Truck. Make sure you guys go to dirtytruck.com. Moving soon. Save time and money on your next truck rental nationwide with Dirty Truck. Reserve your truck with Dirty Truck. Please reserve your truck with Dirty Truck. Thank you for your support. Go ahead, Toussaint.
Yeah, I tell people all the time, like, Turkey made Canelo disappear. I haven't even heard nobody mention that he got undisputed again his last fight. Have you heard anybody talking about that?
No.
They haven't even said it to the lead up to this fight. And if we're honest, Victor Conte selling the hell out this fight. Because if we wasn't talking about cheating, we wouldn't be talking about the fight. It's not only us talking about snacking Victor. What they don't realize is they're talking about snacking Victor too. They're talking about it too every day, making tons of videos, arguing back and forth. So if it wasn't for that, I don't think people would be talking about this fight. And I think that's why they keep talking about it, because you say what you got to say about it, and then you can just move on. Yeah, they want to silence people and try to tell people how to think and what platforms they can go on. And y'all just making Crawford look more guilty, in my opinion. But what I was saying about Turkey is, Canelo went over there, one of the biggest fan bases, damn near the face of boxing. Nobody cared. Nobody talking about Canelo. Nobody cared. He got undisputed again. They not even talking about how it's 2-time undisputed versus 2-time undisputed. Like, that's what they should be talking about for this fight. That should be the major selling point for this fight, in my opinion. But instead, it's the cheating. So, and I was saying last night on my live that, do y'all think that if Boots goes and fights in Saudi on the undercard, that would kill all of his momentum? Because I was trying to explain, when you're doing a sport and you have momentum, you don't want to lose that. Boots has momentum right now. He's fighting in his hometown. He's selling out tickets. He got everybody's attention, whether they criticizing him or not. He loses all that momentum by going over to Saudi and fighting on the undercard. I don't think I mean, he can go whatever I'm not saying I feel some type of way, just in my opinion. I think that would kill his momentum. And I don't think that they really want to do that. And I don't see a problem with that.
I don't think Boots has much momentum. I think Turkey and Eddie have ruined it. I mean, Boots, when he was with when he was with PBC, he had this aura to him. He had this spirit of invincibility. He had this is the guy that no one wants to fight. This is the killer, and especially the Romain Villa fight. Many people didn't know Romain Villa, but that was set up after the Ellis win, and that was the perfect kind of fight where it was his coming out party. And there were the other fights that he had with the South African guy whose name escapes me. But I think Boots did have a lot more momentum with the PBC. And I just think with Eddie Hearn, it's just, maybe locally he's selling out arenas, but I think on a national level, a lot of his momentum has been killed, unfortunately. And again,
he's just coming into his stardom, though.
But I think you can't discount the fact that you had Turkey out there ruining his reputation, publicly calling him a duck with the Virgil Ortiz situation again. And who's behind a lot of corporate media? Turkey's behind corporate media. That's why you have Aram and De La Hoya saying what happened to the boxing media, because they were used to manipulating and controlling corporate media. So you can't discount the fact that Turkey ruined his reputation publicly with that whole Virgil Ortiz debacle, and I exposed the madness behind that. So I think you got to look at it two ways. In Philly, maybe he's getting more opportunities selling out arenas, and so that's good for him. But I think as a brand, since leaving the PBC, he's not being seen as much because the PBC's cards that he was on, he had more visibility. When he was beating up Chris Van Heerden, he was beating up Romain Villa. More people were watching that, and they were like, "Oh, is Errol gonna drop or is Errol or Crawford gonna drop the IBF, or are they gonna face Boots? Are they ducking Boots? Boots after he knocked out Custio Clayton. When he knocked out Custio Clayton in one round, he's saying, "I'm the big fish" to Errol Spence in the crowd. There was that people saw, and people were like, "Oh, this guy Boots, he's next up. He's challenging Crawford. He's challenging Spence, and we're seeing it because it's on a PBC card, right?" Where he's gone over to the zone, and as Fernandez said, nobody has the zone, number one. Number two, you're fighting David Avocado, who's a guy that Crawford had the exploding gloves against. And I'm not saying that Crawford cheated. I don't know. I'm just saying that the fact is they had to change the gloves. So before anybody sues me, I'm just putting that out there. So I think he's had less eyeballs on him, and you can't discount the fact that Turkey kind of poisoned the well with the public by labeling Boots as the bad guy in that failed Virgil Ortiz negotiations. And I said from the very beginning that Boots versus Virgil Ortiz was a setup. So that's my whole point. So you got to look at it two ways. You know, is he getting active? Yes. Is he in Philly selling out arenas? Yes. So maybe in Philly that's good. But for the wider public, there's less eyeballs on him. Turkey kind of sullied his reputation, and Steven Espinoza was the only one to stand up for him. Eddie Hearn didn't stand up for him. He was quiet when Turkey was trashing him. And so I think that Boots actually has less momentum than when he was knocking out Chris Van Herding, Custio Clayton. He was going back and forth with Errol saying, I'm the fisherman. I don't know. I want to get your take on that, Fanon.
Yeah, let me take this. Jerron Ennis is not Devin Haney. So he don't need a lot of that dumb shit. He just needs to be able to get in the ring and show what he can do in the ring. I saw him when he fought the last fight against Stanionis. To me, he looked absolutely spectacular against Amanda Stanionis in his last fight. And I think his last fight was a legitimate, it was the best fight of his career, right? But I do believe, obviously, that because you're on the zone, that you're not going to get a lot of national attention. I do believe, though, however, that him fighting in New Jersey and Atlantic City is something that he needs to continue to do so that he has the actual people that are willing to go in there and buy tickets and say that they're willing to buy tickets for him. So I don't think it should be understated that he can actually sell tickets, because Devin Haney can't actually sell tickets. His fights are actually selling. So I think that's a good thing for as far as his fan base, his core fan base, that he's able to have those big shows in Philly. But again, 100% that he's not going to have the national exposure because nobody has DAZN. And DAZN is not really even targeting, they're not really targeting trying to grow their American audience, because they keep doing stupid shit with the pricing, and just the fact that they're so overpriced that nobody's going to, to watch Jerron Ennis is an incredibly expensive fucking venture. You got to pay $300 a year or something for, just to get DAZN to begin with. And then the chances that he may be on a pay-per-view on top of it. And now they're trying to do that double wall thing where you can get a subscription and you can play more for your subscription to get all the pay-per-views. That's a double paywall he's behind. So it's going to be very difficult for him to get new fans other than the ones that are going to Atlantic City or going to Philadelphia to see him. But, at the end of the day, he's not Devin Haney. So he can get right at any time. That's my personal belief. He can get right at any time. He can fuck around and get a good fight or do, because it wasn't the PBC, it was a joint promotion last time. He fought a PBC fighter. So hopefully they can still make fights with PBC fighters that allow him to get these fights done. But there's just no growing somebody nationally on DAZN because it's so god awfully expensive. It's really expensive to watch Boots fight. It's a pay-per-view every single solitary time, because it's how much is it now? $30 a month? $30 a month you got to pay. Then this shit's going to be on a pay-per-view that costs either $15 or $50 or $9. We don't even know what the fucking pay structure is going to be. At least with the PBC pay-per-view, it's going to be. It's going to be about $79.99, and it's going to be for one pay-per-view. Boom. But they're going to have free shows that you don't have to pay to have. You don't even have to have Amazon Prime to watch the show, to watch the free events that are putting on there. Yeah, DAZN is the DAZN. The D is for double dipping. Yeah, that's my take. I think there's a lot of problems with DAZN, and I think that Turki Al-Sheikh is very, very bad for American boxing. Terrible, terrible for American boxing. And DAZN is bad for American boxing. DAZN is basically a foreign channel that's siphoning off U.S. talent so that they can say they have them on the webs on their site, but ain't nobody watching them. I know that's a long answer, but that's my take.
Yeah, and then you keep hearing people. I heard people say, "Well, boxing is a global sport. Why does it have to be in America? It's a global sport." And I'm like,
that's the dumbest shit anybody can say.
I don't get it.
Well, because that's what the foreigners always say. They always say that America thinks that we are just our own world to ourselves.
We are.
But we are. You know what I'm saying?
Like think about it. Turkey doing 300,000 pay-per-views worldwide. We doing that right here in the U.S.
I'm literally telling, but I'm saying like literally the size of the United Texas, all of Europe can fit inside of fucking Texas.
Yeah, Texas is bigger than a lot of those countries.
No, Texas is bigger than Europe. Like literally, you can take a lot of them fucking like Spain, Portugal. I'm pretty sure you can take Spain, Portugal, Italy, and Great Britain, take all them shits and stick them inside of Texas. There's no, I mean, we're huge. So they always are trying to sell the idea because they want to break into our market. That's what they say that for. They're trying to, we need to globalize American money, is what they mean. They want to sell Monster Inoue into the United States. They want to sell Tyson Fury into the United States. They want the money. They want when they talk about internationalism, what they're talking about is taking American money out of the United States and giving it to foreign fighters that go take it back to the UK. That's what they're doing. And they're trying to get American, and look how much money they charge Americans just to watch boxing at all. That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to get control of our dollars. And then you got these fucking buffoons like Blue Blood Sports TV, buffoons that are out here, just monkeys running around doing what they're told. Meanwhile, tearing down, helping these people tear down every American fighter that gets any type of momentum. These assholes are in there out there calling him a duck literally. How many people have these people called a duck? Every American fighter is called a duck on a regular basis. Gervonta Davis is a duck. Errol Spence Jr. was a duck. Ennis is a duck. Brian Norman's going to be a duck. Shakur Stevenson's a duck. Devin Haney, and the only person who's not a duck is Devin Haney. That shit, it's perverted. It's sickening. And it is what it is, though. That's my take. Y'all done? Y'all both on mute?
Oh, I was waiting for 2 cents to respond. I just wanted to clarify what Fanon was saying. I agree 100% with Fanon, and I know there was some hate coming in the chat. I know that he sold out the boardwalk in Philly, and I'm talking to Fahim in the chat. I know that, but again, that's you're looking at through one lens, the localized lens versus what I'm saying is the national lens. So as Fanon so eloquently described, yes, Boots is getting more fights locally in Atlantic City, but how many Americans really go to Atlantic City as opposed to Las Vegas? Okay. How many people are watching DAZN as opposed to what the PBC's platform was, whether it was on Showtime or now Amazon Prime or Fox or NBC with the eyes? And I know to the idiots in the chat that Boots was never officially a PBC fighter. He was under the Showtime banner. So I've clarified. I've said that 100 times. So yes, locally Boots is building up a following. But again, with these casinos, Trump went bankrupt with one of his casinos in Atlantic City. Atlantic City is not nearly as big as Vegas. It's not nearly as big as going to the Cowboy Stadium in Arlington, the Dallas Cowboy Stadium. So again, locally, if you want to build them up locally, yes, that's a good strategy. But I'm talking about nationally and more eyes on him as opposed for the platform.
Well, they don't know how to do it, Kamal. They don't know how to do that. I heard Leonard Ellerby when he was talking about Tank and how he put Tank in Atlanta and this and that, and he was saying it's a certain way you have to build an African American fighter. There's no way Eddie Hearn knows how to do that, especially here in America. That's why he keep putting him in Philly. He don't know what market to take him to next. You get what I'm saying? Like, he don't know what market to take him to next. He don't even know what Atlanta was.
He said about Deontay Wilder, how does some guy in Alabama have $50 million? Y'all remember that?
Yeah.
So again, I agree with you 2 cents. So we're looking at, again, this is where I keep going back to with Eddie Hearn. We're looking at Boo Boo Andre 2.0, where he's fighting. Yes, he's fighting in Providence. He's fighting in, Boston and these kind of places in his home area, Maine. He's fighting in New Hampshire and Vermont. And Boots, we're looking at his home base, Atlantic City and Philly. Yeah, people are getting to see him more there, but I'm talking about on a macro level, not on a micro level. So y'all in Philly and in the Northeast are looking at a micro level. Yeah, he's selling out arenas in our area, but I'm looking at a macro level, two different things, nationally and in terms of branding and reputation. So Crawford was saying he's the biggest guy because he's in Omaha and people are watching his fights. how many people live in Omaha? 400 people, and the rest of them are the children.
Omaha ain't free.
And
Omaha
the
ain't
rest of and the rest of the people that have houses are the children of the corn. That's who lives in Omaha. Remember the scary movies, The Children of the Corn? That's who lives in Omaha. So you selling out arenas in Omaha with the children of the corn, that's not impressive when you're comparing to a guy like Errol Spence that has been branded differently and that is a nationwide phenomenon. And that's what I'm talking about with Boots in terms of his branding that's taken a hit, with Turkey Al-Sheikh damaging his branding and corrupting minds out there to say that Boots is the duck for the Virgil Ortiz situation, that Boots ran out of the division at 147. I don't believe this, but this is the branding that's going out there by the Haniacs and these other nefarious characters about Boots. So I'm saying, yes, you're selling out arenas, you're more active in your home base, like Andre was in Providence and New Hampshire and Vermont, and fighting in these places, but who really lives there? How are you being branded nationally? That was the difference between when he was affiliated with the Steven Espinoza and Showtime and that side of the street versus what's going on now, which is Boo Boo Andre 2.0. Because this was what Boo Boo was doing when he was fighting in that Northeast area. And he was fighting guys, again, who are the type of guys that DAZN released the list of the 4 offers that were sent. So this is Boo Boo Andre, in my opinion, unless something changes dramatically, 2.0. And Turkey's not willing, he's not a favorite guy by Turkey. So Turkey's not going to subsidize his opponent's purses, and Eddie Hearn's not going to invest in them. So we're looking at Boo Boo Andre 2.0 in many more ways than one.
Except for he's way better fighter than Boo Boo Andre is. So I'm telling you, Gervonta, I mean, now Boo Boo can fight. I just don't think he's got the talent. I don't think he has got the upside in the ring that Gervonta has. But we'll see. We'll see. Y'all got anything else on this point?
No, that's it. That's it about Boots.
Yeah. Well, all right, y'all. I'll get back with y'all. Thanks, man.
I got one last thing for Don.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. So I was wondering if you could do those videos, going back to Turkey, about the lunacy of having Better Biev and Benavidez on the same card, but once again, not fighting each other. Same thing with we saw with Haney and Lopez and Ryan Garcia. You have Turkey that's hyping up Dalton Smith, who nobody cares about in America, against Subriel Matias. I sent you the article about Dalton Smith saying he's going to knock out Subriel Matias. Well, we could have Subriel Matias versus Gary Antoine Russell. Again, Turkey dropping the ball with the matchmaking. Nobody cares about these.
No, he's Europeanizing every fucking thing. He's just Europeanizing that shit. There's no fucking reason to have Dalton Smith fight that guy. Like, Turkey Al-Sheikh gives real credit to them fucking Eurobums and puts those guys in fights on a regular basis. We should not be seeing this many UK fighters. I'm sorry. I don't believe that we get to see the top level fighters because I'm seeing too many UK fighters. That's just because they're available and you can promote them doesn't mean that those guys are the best fighters. They've never been the best fighters in the history of boxing, and ain't nothing ever changed about them. But they are trying to big up these guys because Turkey Al-Sheikh basically owns Matchroom and Queensland. So yeah, man, that like those guys are, I'm sorry, just historically speaking, those are not the top level fighters. So the simple fact that you got so many in the mix is bringing down the talent level of boxing. It really is. Just think how many times these UK fighters that they get built up get beat by guys that you're like, wow, I didn't see that coming. Like when Francis Ngannou dropped fucking Tyson Fury. Like that shit should have told you right there what time people were on when they started making fights with Francis Ngannou and trying to pull Francis Ngannou into the mix. Then you don't have any top heavyweight. I don't think. What's the youngest top heavyweight? Who's the youngest top heavyweight?
Moses Atama right now?
No, he's not a top heavyweight. He's a prospect.
Well, prospect. He's a prospect.
Yeah, he's a prospect. That's it. They're all about 35 years old.
They're older. This is an older generation.
And it tells you that they don't have the talent. If your talent level is at 35 years and older, you don't have talent. That's just the simple fact. If a 38-year-old cruiserweight can come and run through your whole country, bro, your country just doesn't have talent. I'm sorry. If a 35-year-old sprinter is still running faster than everybody, bro, fuck out of here. You Negroes are slow. Get the hell out of here. There is going to be a 25, 26, 27-year-old guy that should be in position to be the best heavyweight in the world, because that's when human beings are in their prime. 28 years old, 29-year-old, 30, 31. But no, this is a depressing of the talent level. Did you see when Gary Russell Jr. fought Castaneda? Dude, the talent just pouring out of fucking Gary Russell Jr. was so fucking evident. The talent that you see with like Gervonta Ennis it's evident. The talent is evident. But we got guys like where the talent is facade, like Devin Haney. How much time and energy and money was spent promoting Devin Haney to the detriment of Gervonta Davis? When Gervonta Davis, you put that amount of pressure, if you could put that amount of energy and that amount of good positive promotion behind Gervonta and behind Gervonta, they would be way bigger than they are now. But you got guys like Bug Eyes, that gap tooth nigga, they're all out there tearing down American fighters on the daily. So it's not just about what Eddie Hearn is doing to him. It's also what we do to him. We keep calling our fighters ducks every 5 fucking minutes. It's just not right. It's not okay for Brian Norman Sr. to be calling Gervonta Ennis a duck. You know damn well Gervonta Ennis didn't duck your son. You know that. You know it. You can make the argument that why did he move up, but you're just throwing salt on the man's name, man. You don't want people throwing salt on Brian Jr.'s name every day. But guess what? If he does anything halfway decent, you guys are contributing to an environment where he's going to get his name run down. We don't tear down Tyson Fury nowhere near what we do to Black American fighters. We don't have anywhere near the criticism for somebody like Dimitri Bivol than we have for Gervonta Davis. It's like you want to take all of his popularity and just make it negative and bad and bad and bad constantly so that you can choose who the star is that you want to make the star. The reason that Turki Al-Sheikh probably doesn't want to promote Boots is because that's not the guy he picks. He wants Hamad Shiraz. Who knows why he chooses who he chooses? But the fact that he's done so much he fixed a fucking fight for Hamad Shiraz. There's glove controversies around Hamad Shiraz. He put Hamad Shiraz in the main event on a fight in New York City when nobody knows who he is. It's just, I think it's the whole thing. But you know what it is. Most guys you guys that are talking boxing just want paydays. That's what you want. And whoever is going to give you the payday, that's what you're going to say to get the payday. Even if you got to lie out your ass, you're going to say what you got to say to get the payday.
That was brilliant, Fanat. You could drop the mic on that. And I want to respond to Fahim before I get out of here. I'm not talking about nobody knows Turkey. The deal is Turkey controls the corporate media. Fahim, I like you. You're a good guy and all, but you can't see the forest from the trees. Turkey controls Ring. He's bought a lot of the media, BoxRec, Michael Benson, and all this other stuff. So he puts out what corporate media picks up. So it wasn't YouTube that was calling Boots a duck. It was Ring. It was Virgil Ortiz's people. It was Oscar. It was people in corporate media calling Boots a duck. That's who was calling Boots a duck. That's why Boots' reputation took a hit. It wasn't, I'm not talking about Turkey just saying it. I'm talking about Turkey putting out his flyers to his buddies in corporate media and them calling Boots a duck for that Virgil Ortiz situation not happening. Y'all, again, you cannot see the forest from the trees. Fanon and I are not talking just about Turki Al-Sheikh. We're talking about the relationship that side of the street zone has with corporate media. You cannot discount that. So again, you guys are thinking micro versus what I'm talking about is macro. Macro's a lot bigger. So you're thinking micro, Turki Al-Sheikh, only Turkey. And I'm thinking macro, corporate media that a lot of it has been bought out. Steve Cappinger left ESPN to quietly in the middle of the night to work for Turki Al-Sheikh. What are you guys thinking here with the WBA and boxing scene and all this other stuff that's going on? So again, it's not about any one guy. Well, I'll end with this, Fanon. I was wondering, I sent you Layla Ali's response to Clarissa Shields, and she said, "I'll respond when I'm good and ready." It was a classic response. I love Layla. Layla's a perfect 10 on the, that she is beautiful. Her husband is a blessed man. But she said, I'll respond when I'm ready because I'm still the A side. They don't have the 15 to 20 million. She's not desperate for money. So Clarissa, instead of saying, and Demetrius Alita, Clarissa's promoter, instead of trying to fight old folks and retired fighters and then dissing Shadeja Green and saying you just want money and stuff like that, don't go to nursing homes trying to get fighters. Clarissa, stop doing that, Clarissa. Give us
That girl is
Shadeja
40.
Green.
How old is she? That's a big girl though. But how big is she? How old is she? She's
50, right?
She's-
Layla Ali's got to be 50. I love
think
Layla.
she's 8 years. No, not quite. She's 8 years younger than me. I think she's born in 77. So I think she's 50. She'll be 50. So she's like 48, something like that. She's like 48.
48. So she's let's round up for now. She's almost 50. She's
Yeah.
gorgeous. When I say that, I'm saying, and I'm not dismissing Layla. I was joking, but I'm saying that Layla's gorgeous. Beautiful. Talk about a beautiful woman. Stop trying to fight these women like that. Then trying to little boy or little girl Shadeja Green. Okay, Clarissa, I like your skill in the ring. The antics that you do outside of the ring, I don't particularly care for. And this is one of those instances. You and Demetrius Salita saying they only want a payday. They only want a payday about Shadeja Green. Shadeja is relevant in boxing now. She just dismantled Savannah Marshall, which you had a tough fight for. That fight makes sense. They said they'll come up to your weight to make that fight happen. You have to humble yourself with Jake Paul and negotiate with him, or your team with Demetrius Alita will have to negotiate with him to make the Shadeja Green fight. But this fantasy fight with Layla Ali's not going to happen. There's no place in the world that has $20 million that Layla Ali said is her price to make that fight happen. And Layla shouldn't take that fight. She doesn't need that fight. And you need to focus on a fight that the fans want to see, which is Shadeja Green. So I sent you that. I also sent
Yes,
obviously
I know.
I've also sent you Gary Antoine Russell's interview where he talked about what Haney's going to do in the ring against Brian Norman Jr. He said basically the same thing Tim Bradley said. He's going to run. And Gary Antoine Russell said he'd go to 154 to fight Boots. I sent you that. I think it's with Cigar Talk, some interview that Gary Antoine Russell did. I sent you that as well. So
Yeah, I saw. Yeah.
So if you could get those videos, and then of course, last thing here, Fanon, that DILDOS controversy with the WNBA, it did not end with the arrest in Atlanta. You can now in Vegas and online, you can bet, and you have bigger bets now on what color the next DIDLDOS will be that's thrown onto a WNBA court, then who's going to win the fight, the basketball match between, let's say, the Phoenix Mercury and the Dallas. So this DILDOS controversy, that has taken off a life of its own. If I had to give the WNBA one piece of advice, I never watch it, but y'all have gotten more attention because of this ridiculousness. Embrace it. Because this is your 15 minutes of fame. You are now, because of this controversy, this DIDOS, you're being talked about more than Canelo versus Crawford. So embrace this thing, Fanon. I sent you the videos on that. I sent you the Clay Travis video. With that, I'm out. Deuces.
All right, brother. Get back. Absolute Kamal facts. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Man, let me do something real quick before I get out of here, because I'm gonna get out of here right at about 2 hours. And this is going to be a little bit of just talking directly to some of y'all. Look, man, you guys are what you call losers, okay? You have been that way probably your whole life. I don't know what you're going through. However, you're not going to throw me off my square with the things that I do with your nonsense, okay? You're not going to make me the unpopular kid, okay? I've been, whenever school I've ever been in, any place that I've ever been in, I was one of what you call one of the popular kids, okay? Popular adults always have been that way. I did not become, I don't have any problems saying what I think because I have a lot of self-confidence that comes through a lot of years of being successful at things. You guys are not going to convince me that something is wrong with me by telling you the truth, which is that I think Terrence Crawford is on some shit. I do. I think he's on some bullshit. I can say all the different type of bullshit that I think he's on. both. And when I say I think he's on some bullshit, I mean his activities are on some bullshit. He's on some bullshit. There's nothing defamatory about that, because you cannot tell me or prove to me that I know what I said is not true. I am not a dummy. You guys are used to bullying people around, intimidating people around, and I think that you guys are the lowest form of humanity, because you don't offer anything. You just offer the ability to tear things apart. I have no idea how anybody could have any respect for Bill Haney. I don't understand how you could eat lunch with him. I don't understand how you could socialize with him. I have no idea how you guys could wake up every day and try to tear these young men down the way that you try to tear these men down. Okay? Why are straight men so concerned about another man's sexuality? Because they're not straight men. But anyway, they're a bunch of lowlives. You guys are a bunch of lowlives. And shame on you for being such lowlives. But as far as the women thing goes, bro, people have known me in every city that I've ever been in. And if you can find one person that knows me to say that I have anything about me that has ever made them believe that I was a same-sex type of dude, I'm sure you can find that guy to come out and say it. Because yet that has never happened, nor will it ever happen. But you guys, on the other hand, are a bunch of fugazi niggas that run around saying all kind of crap about other men, and you got all kind of energy for other men and negative energy for other men. You tear down other men. You criticize and critique other men in a negative fashion every day. No, bro, there's something up with you. I will only because he's funny to me. I'm just telling you, you guys are terrible, terrible human beings. That's my personal opinion. And you guys cannot get me for defamation for me telling you that I think you're terrible people. You lie about people on a regular basis, and you insist that it's okay to lie on people on a regular basis. You lie about how much money people are making in fights to try to make that fight look big. Meanwhile, it's the PBC fighters that can go years without having a fight and don't seem like they have any money problems at all. Meanwhile, you guys lie about how much Devin Haney makes. You lied and said that Devin Haney made $30 million against Ryan Garcia. Ryan Garcia said he made $30 million. And guess what? When the news comes out, you really find out that they didn't make any money during that fight. There's nothing believable about Turki Al-Sheikh. I don't believe that he's paying the money he says that he's paying. I don't believe him because he's not somebody that is believable. There's no reason in the world for me to believe that this guy is wasting the amount of money that he says he's wasting. There's no getting your money back. And it is a situation where it's just never going to be good for the sport of boxing. So it's just time for American fighters to hold on. I do not like the fact that Jaron Ennis is with Matchroom, not because I got a problem with Eddie Hearn, but I wouldn't think that it would be smart for somebody like Chris Eubank to be fighting in the United States. Chris Eubank is not going to be a big draw in the United States because he's from Great Britain. I don't think it makes sense for United States citizens to have foreign promoters for fights that are taking place in the United States. They just don't, it just doesn't, it seems counterintuitive to me that you need to import a promoter into the United States. And I think Eddie Hearn should get out of the United States and go to the UK where he's good. That's what they should do. Bob Arum, stay in the United States where you're good. I'm scared of what his real interest may be. They're just trying to tear down. Look, I have my theories on what they want to do. I have my theories. But what I think they're going to do, I'm telling you, it's never going to happen. What they want to do is never going to happen. The question is, how many people are going to get hurt while they're doing what they try to do? That's my only question. I don't have any doubt whatsoever that the PBC is going to continue to thrive. I don't have any doubt that there's going to be another promoter that enters into the scene like Jake Paul entered into the scene. Jake Paul is one of the best American promoters right now. I would rather have Jaron Ennis sign with Jake Paul than sign with Eddie Hearn because he understands the American market and he's an American and cares, and I assume he cares about America and cares about America first. We do not have to be internationalists with our money. We can be nationalists with our money. Anyway, let me get up out of here, man. Much love to everybody in the chat. I'm going to be back tomorrow. Thank you for your encouragement. Thank you for your encouragement. Thank you for your encouragement. And with that, I'm out. Deuces. Thanks, LeVar. Appreciate you.